My God, were there any standout moments in Grand Canyon?
God.
Yeah, there were. But before we get into the Grand Canyon, like I said, I talked kind of a big game, right? You would say, like, I was going to do this and I was going to do that, and
in very hot temperatures, you said you were going to do it.
Yeah, and so leading.
Did you take your water pills?
You know, I was thinking about
getting another one.
Is getting water pills instead of drinking water while I'm on the trip.
What's that?
Water pills. So this way I'm constantly hydrated. I just pop a water pill whenever I'm thirsty, so I don't have to get all weighed down by the water.
How big are these pills?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think you can OD on them, so I could take as many as I want, I think.
But what's in the pill?
You never heard of water pills?
No. What's the?
Bro,
I never even heard of this.
Right?
I've heard of salt pills.
No, they're water pills. I think they give you extra water in your body, though.
How big are the pills?
How could that work? That sounds insane. Like, what do you mean? You can't take a pill that magically turns to water in your stomach.
Oh, I think you're wrong.
We would have solved every human problem there ever was at this point if that was the case.
Water pills are a common treatment for high blood pressure.
Okay.
Oh, I think it takes water out of your body, doesn't it?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
you
fuck.
better-
I
you
better
better
not
not-
take those pills.
Like, Walt looks pretty bad. You haven't even gotten out of the car yet.
How many water pills did you eat?
The whole bottle. I was trying to be responsible.
Oh, man, that sucks, because I was here, I was thinking, I was like, because I can't do it. I can't chug down all this water without feeling like I put on an extra, 50 pounds, though, sloshing around on my belly and shit. I thought I was going to be able to take these pills and just fucking skate.
But what did you think the pills did? Like, what did you think?
Hydrated. Keep my insides all hydrated.
But when you took the pill, you think it released chemicals that hydrated you or turned to water in your
I
stomach?
thought maybe it just turned to water.
Yeah, it says these drugs help your kidneys get rid of extra water and salt from your body.
Oh, shit. I brought it up for my whole family.
Yeah, Alicia, take these. Look at the suckers over there with no water pills.
So, there were some very concerning emails I was getting from people who said they did this and that you're not going to be able to do this without taking precautions. They said if you don't have the proper shoes, you're going to lose toenails on this hike. Oof. If you don't have a walking stick, you will be confronted with snakes, and how are you going to move them without a walking stick? So you better bring a walking stick.
How the fuck am I going to move them? How am I going to move them with a walking stick?
They were like, your brain's going to be scrambled within 10 seconds. You're not used to this elevation. He goes, please, I beg you, do not do this. They put the fear of God in me so much that we just stayed in the Grand Canyon fucking little tourist city.
We didn't go.
We did the chocolate factory, and we went to the pizza parlor.
You guys never hiked?
We didn't hike.
We ate at the Wendy's.
Oh, my God.
I was so terrified that we were going to die that I was like, I can't do it. I don't want to take everybody down there and then if we can't get out, it's just not worth it. Like I said, there was too many people warning me. Like there was just too many things. I was like, God is speaking to me right now.
What about that? What about the donkeys, the burros?
We didn't see anything like that. We were at the southern rim, and when we got there, there was no donkeys. There was no glass bridge.
There was no donkeys at the Wendy's. We looked all over.
Oh, no, there were.
So we did the touristy thing in the afternoon. Yeah. We went to the trails that the tourists do. Like we stayed by the people who looked like they couldn't really do anything. Like they couldn't hack it. They're too old or too out of shape. That's where I felt like that was our lane.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You were with them, were you?
We took the handicap trail that was paved.
The lack of self-awareness is fantastic.
Now, Frank, were you in agreement with this? Were you like, no, it's too dangerous?
He was not happy that I would put my foot down. But his wife was happy. She was like, you can only go where Walt goes. She goes.
It was going, let me tell you, going to the Grand Canyon was like having 3 wives because Deb,
we were in Utah just before.
We're all Mormons now. And every time I walked even remotely close just to see what the Grand Canyon looked like, all of them from 10 feet away were yelling to me to come back, that I was too close to the edge. I needed to come back onto the concrete and look at it from there.
But your wife was so concerned. She was like filled with anxiety as you got too close to the edge, though. Why would you want to do that to her?
She said to me, she goes, you can go wherever Walt goes, is what she told me. So that was what I saw of the Grand Canyon.
You drive 2,500 miles for Walt to be like, no. But you said.
But when we got there, it was massive. We never would have fucking made it down to the bottom. There's not a chance on the planet we would have made it down to the bottom. It was completely bigger than I remembered it.
Yeah.
It was huge. Huge. There's no fucking way.
I'll tell you, they ended up walking to the other side of the path. And I was just like, I'll go in the car and I'll wait for you guys in the parking lot.
Yeah,
so I just parked close to the path, waiting for them with the air conditioner running, and I was watching TV.
He started to put on The Office. He's at the Grand Canyon and he's watching The Office in his car.
Mary's like, did Walt say you could do that?
But what I wanted to do was, I had saw the night before, I saw these really hyped up tours, that Jeep tours.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, let's do the Jeep tour. It says that they grant you access that most tourists will not gain. You know, you're going to get more, you're going to go areas where like the normal tourists don't go on these Jeep tours because they're like off-roading. And it was expensive. Per person, I think it was like $125.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
So we tried to book these Jeep tours and we couldn't book one. They were all sold out until finally we called the last tour, the Jeep tour place, and they say, yeah, they have enough spots free for us. So we book it for 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the evening, this tour to see the sun go down in the Grand Canyon. And they talk about we're going to see wildlife that we've never seen before. But granted, we had been there for 24 hours, so we had seen all the deer that is at the Grand Canyon.
Right.
So we didn't actually see anything that we hadn't seen for free, the night before. But we got, I swear to God, I'm not exaggerating. We got the most condescending, fucking irritating know-it-all, and I fucking spend 6 hours a day with Kid and Steve Dave in a room, just us. And I'm telling you, I know condescending and know-it-all, and this fucking lady was brutal.
Really? She was the Jeep driver?
She was the tour guide.
Mm-hmm.
So tell them about. I mean, I can't even. I know you guys are going to think I'm exaggerating, and this didn't happen, or she didn't say this. But I swear to God, everything that we were going to tell you about this fucking tour guide is gospel. It was
wow.
It was shocking how poor she was.
We could start off by saying that it's safe to assume not everybody thinks Walt Flanagan is wonderful, because this tour guide did not like you. She hated you.
Yeah, she hated me because I had the fucking balls to question some of her knowledge. And then when she annoyed me, I started to then just fucking outright mock her.
But the woman you described as a smug asshole.
There was one point in the tour where they were bickering back and forth.
Yeah, it's true.
Over the year that drones were first brought into public use.
It's true. Because everything that she brought up about like showing us the Grand Canyon and relaying knowledge, she relayed knowledge by asking us questions. Like, does anybody know this? Or does anybody know this? Or does anybody know this? It was like, it became too irritating to constantly be like questioned about anything.
It's not a classroom.
Right. It's like, if we fucking knew these questions, we wouldn't fucking be paying you through the nose
to tell us the fucking answers.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, and when you said something, let's say you were wrong, and like, because she's not talking until somebody answers. Someone throws out an answer, even if it's wrong. So we would throw out an answer, and if it was wrong, she'd be like, before you could even finish the word, no. Wrong. And of course, she had to let us know she was formerly a vegan. Right off the bat. I'm like, this isn't about you, bitch. No one cares about, we're here to see the fucking hole in the fucking earth. We don't care about your dietary needs or how you're so much better and superior to us who consume fucking homogenized or pasteurized food.
But I mean, if she's like, oh, I'm formerly a vegan.
Yeah, but now she hunts her food, and nothing goes to waste.
Oh, good for her.
Oh my God, she was so fucking pretentious. It was fucking maddening.
Well, we kind of got off on the wrong foot with her about 10 minutes into the tour, through no fault of our own.
No.
She dropped us off at some store and told us to go for a half hour to go look
Our
at something.
first fucking stop on the tour was a gift shop in a parking lot where there's hundreds of thousands of people anyway. So that's our first stop. And she goes, you have a half hour here to just go like at a gift shop.
Right.
So obviously we don't have there's not a half hour that we're going to spend in a gift shop. So we just sat on the side of the rim. You know, it was nice and cool. And there was these squirrels everywhere that were almost like they were so conditioned and trained to kind of like sit up on their hind legs and beg for food. It's so cute and adorable. Like they look like little men walking for food. If you give them food, then they're very aggressive for the food, but it's still cute as hell. You know, they look like they're walking on their back feet. And we're just sitting there, and another tour guide, a nice guy, I thought, comes over and just starts a conversation with Frank. Mm-hmm. About what, Frank? What was it again? Something about a car, right?
Yeah, I was wearing a DeLorean hat, so we were talking about the car.
And then we started to ask him a couple questions about the Grand Canyon, just because what else are we going to fucking talk about with this guy who won't leave us alone? So obviously, we're talking about, and we ask about what's the most dangerous animal, and he goes, "Oh, it's the squirrels." He goes, "They have bubonic plague."
What?
Now, granted, we were just feeding these squirrels hours earlier in the day. And I was telling Frank, don't feed that squirrel.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because I said, you don't know if it's going to scratch you or give you rabies. Yeah. And you wouldn't listen.
Just something else he didn't want me to do. Stay back. Stay away from the squirrel.
But I was right, though. I was like, they may have a disease. You don't know. They're out in the daytime. This is not normal behavior for a squirrel to be walking up to you that nonchalant and begging for food.
Right, and getting aggressive if he doesn't get it.
Like they went into his bag.
Really?
With their two hands, like little chimpanzees, like little primates. So they're trying to get into his bag to take his chocolate bar.
Jesus.
So we're floored by that when he says they have bubonic plague and they're the most dangerous animals in the park. And then we're talking about, these kids who are just dangling their feet off a very precarious rock. Like if they had fallen, they would have died. So I was like, why do you guys allow this? Like, why are the park rangers so okay with people acting like fools just to get a selfie? And he got well, it's nature. We're not supposed to be putting up higher walls. This is what it's all about. If you're too stupid, it's your fault. And I go, yeah, but I just read a story about a kid who got blown off the rim, not doing anything wrong, a little 4-year-old who got blown off the rim because of a high gust of wind. And he's like, so? I'm like, build the fucking railings taller, asshole. Like, what, you're telling me it's okay for kids to come on vacation and get blown off the side of the rim?
I gotta say, I kind of feel for him. I felt the same way during that Amber Alert. I'm like, so?
So we're talking to him. And like I said, I would have rather had this guy as our tour guide. Because he was still nice. He goes, where's the beers? Are we going to get beers later? Mm-hmm. And we
Was Q the tour guide?
Just some dude you met in a parking lot wants to go grab beers later.
He's like, yeah, I'm a ranger. Why not?
But he had a personality at least, and he wasn't like so condescending and pretentious as our tour guide was. But then our tour guide fucking comes around the corner and she's like, "Hello, we're waiting for you."
Oh my God.
And she goes, "What's going on?"
We were there early.
Yeah, we're like, "Oh, okay. We didn't know we were back. We thought we had more time." And she's like, "What's going on with that tour guide? Why were you asking him so many questions?"
Shut the fuck up. No. Oh my God.
This is where we wished you were here because no one's going to believe us. We said, she is so pissed off that we were talking to another tour guide.
Like we were cheating on her.
Yes. So we thought she was teasing at first. So we kind of rolled with it. She's like, "Oh, yeah, we were just talking about DeLoreans." And he told us that the fucking squirrels have bubonic plague. I was like, "Is that true?" And she's like, "Well, why don't you go back and ask him?"
Oh my God.
I was stunned when she said that because I'm sitting right behind her in the Jeep, and I looked at Frank and I'm like, is she serious or is she teasing us? And she was not teasing us. She was fucking livid that we were talking to another tour guide.
Dude, I was upset already that I wasn't able to go on the trip now. Oh my God, it sounds awesome.
Oh my God. And I look at my daughter and she does not want me to engage. She's like, stop talking to her. You know, it's like, she doesn't find it amusing.
Right.
That she's getting more irritated with me by the moment. So we go to the next stop and we go to another spot, which is fucking another parking lot. Just another parking lot amongst the fucking 12 that we visited that night. So we get out and she goes, "You can go out here. You can get some good pictures. There's some great scenery over here." And she starts to talk about how the Grand Canyon had to ban drones because of the frequency that a drone is like controlled on would interfere with the helicopters, tours, or rescues that they might have to perform. And I thought that was interesting. So I said, "Oh, wow." I go, "So was that something that was learned by accident? That, like, you know, because when the drones came into popularity, I can't imagine that people just didn't come with them and were like, I'm going to get amazing footage here at the Grand Canyon with my drone. And you guys learned the hard way, or that, you know, you had to like squash this." I said, "So when was that?" I said, "When was that implemented that they had to ban drones?" She goes, "Well, when were drones invented?" She goes, so like in my face like that. And I was like, I don't know. And she goes, "The 80s. And I go, "And so it's the 80s. She goes, like she's right, and turns away. And I go, "No, I don't think so." I said, I don't think the commercial drone was available to the average Joe consumer in the 80s. I said, it would be much, much later than that. Probably 20 years. I said, I can't imagine anyone having a drone in the 90s. I said, and she goes, "I don't know." And then like 5 minutes later, she comes back and she goes, "Drones were in the 80s. She goes, "I was a government contractor."
And a former vegan.
Yeah.
I swear to God, she said that like she couldn't let it go that I questioned, and I told her like there's no way that drones were around in the 80s. I said
Consumer models of drones, I mean, I can't say for a fact, but I feel like I'm 99.9% sure we would have seen them. At some point.
I wish you were there, because and my daughter is just like mortified as like we're arguing about drones amongst all the tourists that are on the rim. And then she says something that I just had enough. She goes, "Do you know who has to get rescued more at the Grand Canyon? Men or female? Men or women?" And somebody says men, and she goes, "Wrong. It's women." She goes, "You know why?" And I said, "Because they don't listen to the men." I said,
"Oh, yes." Oh, that is fucking perfect.
Oh my God, she just didn't even look at me. She had sunglasses on, so I couldn't see how mad her eyes were. But she just was like, she was seething. And I looked over at my daughter, like laughing, like, huh? That was a good one, right? And she's just like, "Will you just shut up?" And she goes, "The reason that women need to be rescued more at the Grand Canyon is because men, what happens when men get tired? What do? And nobody knows. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, she says they will rest. What will women do when we get tired? Women, we will carry on. We will persevere. We will keep going, and we will push ourselves to the point where we push ourselves harder than the men, because of whatever. I don't know what her reasoning was, and that's why women have to get rescued more.
It's due to stupidity, then, is what she's saying. That's what she's saying.
And then she says something that just fucking makes me go, she didn't just say that, did she? She starts talking about, well, who funds the parks and the national parks? Who's in charge of the national parks in the government? And, the questions that I'm like, who the fuck knows? I don't know. But she starts rattling off, like, who's in charge of that? The Department of, Department of Nature. I don't know what it was. And people are just zoning out now because she just keeps asking us questions that nobody can answer. And then if somebody says something, she's like, no. But then she says something that just made me go, I can't believe she just said that. She goes, now, BLM, she goes, is a political organization who does nothing.
Really?
And I was just like, well, what just happened here? Like she just fucking called out BLM at the Grand Canyon. We're looking at fucking shrubs and berries, and she just says that out of nowhere. Like her political feelings on BLM, unless BLM means something else at the Grand Canyon.
Well, there's the Bureau of Land Management.
Oh, okay. Then that may be it then, because I was like, what the hell is she talking about? Why is she bringing this up? How does she know our political? How does she not know? Like, why is she saying this? Like, would she say this if there was people of color in our group? Or would she call it by at least the full name instead of an acronym?
Right. Yeah, I think that's probably what she means. She probably has personal experience with BLM and is unhappy with their policies.
But not the BLM that's in the news today.
No, the one that nobody knows about.
I owe her an apology then.
The one that she should have sort of specified, since everyone thinks BLM.
Okay, then I was wrong on that one then.
But remember, before she even mentioned that, she was saying how she used to live on the southern border of the state.
Oh, yeah.
And that she goes, I moved away because of everything that's happening down on the border. She goes, it's just a mess.
Yeah, she kind of did bring her personal feelings into the tour information. But
I wonder who she voted for.
I didn't ask her. Yeah, but she just had a distaste. Like she was just kind of like just too pretentious and too interested in kind of making us feel stupid. She actually said at one point, "Where did you people go to school?"
Oh my God.
That's what she said. Right, Frank?
Yes.
Where did you get your education at? She goes. Because everybody's terrified to say the wrong answer because she's jumping on down our throats.
Should have just been like Harvard. Frank here went to Yale.
We had a teacher and a professor in our group, and they were terrified to say anything because they were going to get their heads bitten off.
Yeah, I kind of sidled up to the other group that was on our bus afterwards.
Oh, you were distancing yourself from Walt?
Yeah.
Everybody was. Nobody wanted to sit next to me.
I'm with this family now.
Holy shit, man. That's unbelievable.
But then she had the balls. She brings us back to our car, and she goes, I have a tip jar up here, and if you would, please leave me a great review. I was just like, you got to be out of your mind. I wasn't about to go leave her a bad review because I hate people who leave bad reviews. Mm-hmm. I'm just not into doing that. I have no idea what her day was like before she picked this up. Maybe it was a bad day.
Right. Her muskrat got away when she was
I don't want to judge her on a couple hours, so I'm not going to go and leave her a bad review. But I sure as hell ain't giving you a fucking tip, though. I paid $120 for that bullshit.
Right. And if they had been overly helpful and friendly and hey, yeah, made it a fun experience, then you might not feel bad throwing a 10 or a 20.
I wish we could have just traded families and gone on the tour guide with the guy who wanted to go get beers.
Yeah, you would have drank a beer to avoid the lady.
I fucking tried a Mongolian restaurant. Maybe I was up for a beer.
Holy shit.
Wow.
So the way back.
Well, then we went to Tombstone. We saw.
We went to Tombstone?
We went to Tombstone. Frank wanted to do
Tombstone. I love Tombstone.
You like Tombstone?
I love
You've been
Tombstone.
There?
Yeah. I do. It's a lot of fun. Did you take an old Western photo? Like an old-timey Western photo with everybody in costume?
No, we were just we're still fucking seething over our tour budget being fucking blasted by the by the tour guide, but we didn't do that. But we took photos. We took a lot of photos off of our phone.
Yeah.
We saw a reenactment of the big fight with Wyatt Earp and who are some of the other big wigs in
the
that?
James gang.
Doc Holliday.
Doc Holliday, yeah.
And I got to tell you,
awesome.
The young guys that do that, and there were some older guys, they deserve more recognition for doing that shit in fucking trench coats in 118-degree weather for a bunch of tourists every fucking day out in the sun.
Probably multiple times a day.
Oh my God. And they are so into it and they're so eager to talk about it. It was, that was impressive for the actors who were in that.
I loved it. I would actually love to go back there again.
Tombstone?
With the
what else is there to fucking do? It's like one street. We did it all.
You're not going back, Frank.
I guess. All right, Walt said no.
We saw a knockdown, drag-out brawl in the streets of Phoenix.
But so, did you just feel like badass? We felt badass in Tombstone.
Oh, I don't know if you can hear us. Can you hear us?
Felt badass?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, okay. I guess you could feel like a bad. You can get caught up in that. Like, I could be a gunslinger. you kind of get caught up in that mentality until you're like, because it's all fucking play acting. Could you ever imagine living in a fucking time where, like, if you fucking looked at somebody the wrong way, they'll shoot you in the face?
They'll just shoot you.
Yeah, I don't want to live in a world like that. But we almost saw a world like that in Phoenix, Q. We saw a big knockdown, drag-out brawl right on the streets of Phoenix when we're parked at a traffic light.
Really?
Yeah, some dude just beating the shit out of like 3 people. One little man with a bald head just knocking people out. Women.
Wow.
Like,
knocking out women.
Knocking out women, dudes. He didn't care. He was hitting anybody. And people sitting at a bus stop acting, oh, yeah, this is just a regular Monday in Phoenix. They didn't even try to stop the brawl. They did not care.
And you said that it happened too quick to bust out your iPhone and get a little World Star action, right?
I mean, I could have. I was just in shock. I don't see that very often where you just see people just beating the shit out of each other. And I didn't even think to pick up my phone and videotape it.
I saw a fight in Wildwood. Same thing. I'm just watching it. And meanwhile, I look around. Everybody has their phones out. And I'm like, it just doesn't occur to me. I'm just watching it.
I think it was funny. My wife's going, why are they doing that? I'm like, what the fuck do I know?
Let me go find out. Hey, Baldy.
But what's funny about it is that before that we're in Tombstone and you feel like a badass, right?
Yeah.
And then you're in Phoenix and you're seeing this fight on the street and we're like, all right, roll the windows up. Lock the doors and roll them up.
Yeah, reality hits you in the face when you see it. It's not a bunch of 18-year-olds in play acting in trench coats. It's a muscular ass fucking 5'5" dude with a bald head beating the shit out of 5 people. Yeah. You ain't rolling up to him and saying, "Hey, dude, what's going on?
Like
is everything okay?"
But like fueled by meth.